What if I told you there was a killer who scared California in the late 1960s? And to this day, no one knows who he really was. He called himself the Zodiac, and used to send creepy letters and strange codes to the police and newspapers, like he was playing a game. Some of those codes took years to solve, and a few are still a mystery even today. Many people made suspects, theories, and wild guesses, but the truth is still unknown. And the question still remains, who was the Zodiac killer, and why can't anyone solve this case? But don't worry, in this video, we are going to solve this case. So hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon, and keep watching because things are about to change. The first attacks that shocked California. The Zodiac's trail of terror started in December 1968. Two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were parked on a quiet road in Vallejo, California. They were just kids enjoying a night together when someone walked up and opened fire. David was shot in the head. Betty Lou tried to run but was shot in the back. For the small community, it was a nightmare. No one understood who could do this or why. At first, police thought it was just another tragic murder. But 7 months later, it happened again. This time, Darlene Ferrin and her friend Mike Mageau were sitting in a car at a local Lover's Lane spot. A man walked up with a flashlight and a gun, shooting into the car. Mike barely survived, but Darlene died instantly. And here's the part that still creeps people out. Just minutes later, someone called the police from a payphone and calmly reported the crime. The caller? He said he was the one who did it. That voice was believed to be the Zodiac. This wasn't random anymore. This was someone with a plan, someone who wanted credit, someone who enjoyed the chaos. The police were terrified, the public was panicking, and the Zodiac was just getting started. And think about this. If those were only the first murders that he admitted, how many more could he have done before that no one ever connected? The cryptic letters and codes. The murders were terrifying enough. But what made the Zodiac legendary were the letters. Days after his attacks, newspapers started receiving envelopes filled with handwritten words, threats, and strange puzzles. These weren't just notes, they were challenges. He wanted newspapers to print them on the front page. He wanted every family sitting at the breakfast table to see his words. If they didn't publish them, he threatened to kill more people. The most famous of these was the 408 cipher. It had strange symbols in a grid that looked impossible to solve, but a California couple actually cracked it within a week. And the solution? It wasn't his name. It was a disturbing message about how killing people gave him the ultimate thrill. He compared it to hunting animals, saying it was more fun than killing wild game. Imagine reading that as a normal citizen in 1969. It was pure nightmare fuel, but not all his ciphers have been solved. One of his longest codes, the 340 cipher, stayed unsolved for over 50 years until a team of code breakers finally cracked it in 2020. And again, it wasn't a name. It was just more gloating, more taunting, as if to say, "You'll never catch me." Even now, some Zodiac ciphers remain unbroken, and for all we know, one of them could still hold the secret to who he really was. He didn't just kill people, he made the entire state play his twisted game. And here's the hook. What if the last unsolved cipher really does hold his identity? Wouldn't that mean the answer has been sitting under our noses for decades? Suspects and theories. Now here's where the rabbit hole gets deep. Over the years, the Zodiac case has had hundreds of suspects, police reports, FBI files, endless theories. It's a maze. But one name stands out more than any other: Arthur Lee Allen. He was a former school teacher with a history of disturbing behavior. He lived near where some of the murders happened. He owned watches with the Zodiac logo on them. He told people things that sounded suspiciously close to what the Zodiac wrote. Even police detectives said he was their prime suspect. But here's the frustrating part. Every time investigators thought they had him, the evidence slipped away. His handwriting didn't match the Zodiac's letters. His DNA didn't match samples from envelopes. When he died in 1992, the case was still wide open. Was he the Zodiac? Or just an easy target who fit the profile? Other suspects have popped up too. Some people think the Zodiac was a man named Richard Gaikowski, a journalist whose appearance resembled police sketches. Others suspect a man named Lawrence Kane, who had memory issues from a brain injury and lived near the victims. There's even been speculation about multiple killers, as if the Zodiac was more of a group identity. And of course, the internet age made it worse, or better, depending on how you see it. Amateur detectives all over the world have posted theories, dug up suspects, and tried connecting the dots. But no matter how many names are thrown out, no one has ever been confirmed. And here's a chilling thought. What if the Zodiac wasn't on any suspect list at all? What if he were someone completely ordinary, blending in, living his life, while the whole world kept searching in the wrong places? The media obsession. By now, the Zodiac wasn't just a killer. He was a celebrity of terror. Newspapers printed every letter, every code, every threat. TV shows covered his story. Families stayed inside at night, afraid to go out. And yet people couldn't stop following the case. It was like watching a horror movie unfold in real time, except no one could turn it off. The Zodiac understood this. He knew the more letters he wrote, the more headlines he'd get. He even threatened to attack school buses full of children, forcing parents to panic. It was psychological warfare. He didn't just want victims, he wanted an audience. And sadly, he got one. Even decades later, the Zodiac lives on in pop culture. Movies like Zodiac, 2007, brought the case to a new generation. Books, documentaries, podcasts, his story is everywhere. That symbol, that eerie handwriting, those unsolved codes, they're burned into American crime history. And the strangest part is how the media both fueled the fear and kept the fascination alive. The more newspapers printed his letters, the more people became glued to the story. Some argued the press was helping him spread terror, almost giving him the fame he craved. But at the same time, ignoring him felt impossible. What if he really carried out his threats? It put the media in a dangerous position, torn between public safety and public curiosity. And that's why the Zodiac case became more than a crime. It became a theater played out on the front page. And you have to wonder, was this his plan all along? To become bigger than life, to be remembered not just as a killer, but as a mystery no one could ever solve? Why the mystery still haunts us. It's been more than 50 years. Technology has advanced beyond what anyone in the 1960s could imagine. We've solved cold cases using DNA pulled from decades-old evidence. We've caught killers who thought they were untouchable. And yet, the Zodiac remains free, at least in history books. Investigators have tried extracting DNA from his letters and stamps. They've used genealogy databases that solved cases like the Golden State Killer. They've tracked down every possible lead. And still, nothing. The Zodiac, whether dead or alive, has beaten time itself. And that's what makes him unforgettable. Because the case isn't just about murder. It's about the human need for answers. We can't stand puzzles we can't solve. The Zodiac gave us the ultimate riddle, one that's haunted generations. Maybe someday, DNA or a hidden confession will finally unmask him. Or maybe he'll forever be the ghost in American crime history, the man who turned fear into legend. So let me ask you this. Do you think the Zodiac's true identity will ever come out, or will he always remain a shadow? Comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.